Hi guys, I'm going to be talking about ligase chain assembly. This is more of an old school technique that you can use to build DNA. It's one that I've used. It's great for making libraries. It's pretty robust and it definitely has its place in your repertoire. So I want to give kind of a short rundown on how it works. On the surface, it looks very similar to PCA. So we're going to take our oligos, we're going to paste them in, or we're going to have oligos that look like this. And in PCA, we had a bunch of different pairs of these, and we have a bunch of different pairs in a ligase chain assembly as well. Except the difference is that in PCA, your oligos might look like this. We have these gaps in between. But with ligase chain assembly, there's going to be no gaps. So no gaps. Or there'll be a slight gap, but there's no gaps as far as base pairing goes. There's no spaces, but the backbone, the phosphate backbone of the DNA, has little notches right, oops, where's my pen? Has a notch right there. Let me change colors. Has a little notch right there and right there. So this is a type of thing that would self-assemble. So we'll add another one just for fun. But we don't actually have a full thing of DNA. So this entire complex is being held together by base pairing. That's it. So ligase chain assembly allows you to just add in a little bit of ligase. We'll say our ligase is this circle. Our ligase comes in, hits these little openings in our backbone, these little nicks in our backbone. So there, and it just locks them up. It just seals the deal. It just closes everything up. So we've gone from a regime in which we have a bunch of oligos that are, holding themselves together, and there's no gaps, but the backbones are all nicked, and the ligase comes in and it just seals it up. So it's pretty simple. There's a little bit of thermocycling involved so that you can kind of refresh the reaction. Sometimes what happens is you get something like this, and that nicks, and then you want to allow something else a chance to maybe bind to this one somehow. Maybe we don't have a template that can't fit there. So you just thermocycle it with a heat stable or a thermostable ligase, and you can assemble your libraries like this. So kind of the benefit of ligase chain reaction, I did kind of a twist on it. I'll show you what I did if I can. Whoops. Looks like I have to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to reset my chalkboard up here. So what I did was I wanted to make a library. So I had a open reading frame. It's for an alpha body, and I knew that I wanted to mutate a few amino acids here and a few amino acids there. So what I did was I made an oligo that spanned this region, and then an oligo that spanned the rest of that region. So I had two big oligos, and these oligos had a bunch of N's in them, so N's and VNNs and NNKs. So VNN is actually what I used. And I randomized 13 amino acid positions, and then in these two oligos, which span this area. And then I just ordered a little bridge oligo right here. And so I just mixed them together. So you can imagine that I had something like this in a test tube with base pairing only happening there. I added in my ligase, which I think we chose green as our color for ligase. Ligase came in and repaired that, and so we ended up with one large fragment with all of my mutations. And then I just added in another oligo here to fill this out, and I extended that way, this extended that way, and I had another oligo that allowed me to PCR everything up and amplify everything. So it's a real easy way to build small fragments of DNA. They used to use it all the time to, I think they use it to randomize antibody CDRs. Oh, another thing that reminds me is you can use this with kind of a backbone. So I had this little bridge, but you can imagine if I didn't use the bridge, if I used a huge template like that big, these oligos would have just kind of bound to this template nice and happily. And then my oligo, or rather my ligase, would have come right in and bound them, or ligated them right there, after which I could PCR up the resulting single-stranded piece of DNA. So that's ligase chain assembly. It's very useful, and it's definitely not one of the more widely known techniques or widely practiced techniques, but definitely it's easy to do. It's real easy to design your oligos, and it can be a little bit expensive because you need to have complete coverage of the piece of DNA that you want to synthesize. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll be back soon.